Hey guys, welcome back to this SQL discussion, and in today's session I'm going to talk about joins. Now joins are very important aspects of learning SQL. Why we require join in SQL? Now join allows us to access multiple data which are resided into multiple tables in your SQL Server database. Now over here we'll be learning the most important aspects of joining, where we'll be working extensively on inner join, left join, right join, and full join. Now the question is, why we require join in SQL? There will be a lot of scenarios in your day-to-day work where you have to extract data from multiple tables. For example, if you have two tables like employee or department, and you need to understand that there is a data resided in department table and a data resided in the employee table. Now for some reasons, while working with the employee table, there might be a requirement where you need to get some information in terms of the department from the department table. So in that case, we have to perform a join operation to get the data from the respective tables and to proceed with the options of working with different types of data. So let us understand the different types of join with an example. So I'll be talking about the inner join, the left join, the right join, and the outer join. So let me initialize my SQL Server Management Studio and let us see each of the joins with an example. So the best way to understand join is to understand it visually. So what I will do, before I discuss the inner join, let us understand what is inner join with a visual approach. So I have opened my the Paint application, and what I can do, I'll take two tables. So consider this is a table A and this is table B. Now if I were to perform an inner join, now there's a universal law that we follow while working with joins. In order to establish a join between two tables, there should be at least one column of similar data type available in both the tables. The column name doesn't matter, but the column data type should be same. Now for example, in employee table, employee ID, and in department table, department ID should be of the same data type. But in case of establishing a join, in both the table, at least one column should be of the similar data type. Now, for example, if the employee ID column is available in the department table, then we can easily establish a join between the employee ID and the department ID. Now the question is, what is an inner join? In inner join, the join operation takes place on the basis of the matching criteria. Now when I say the matching criteria, I mean to say in both the table, at least one column should be similar in terms of the data type. In inner join, on the basis of this matching criteria, only those data will be extracted which matches with the matching criteria. Now let us understand this particular join with the help of an example. So as you can see in this particular picture, in inner join, only the matching data on the basis of that particular matching criteria will be extracted or will be selected from both the tables. Now how we can achieve this kind of join through queries? So for that, let me go back to my SQL Server Management Studio and let me click on New Query. Now for this particular example, I'll be working on the Adventure Work database. So let me initialize this particular database. Now as we all know, this database is listed under the database folder. First let me use this particular database, and now let us select two tables on which we can apply the inner join. Now if I expand this particular database under the table folder, I can see all the tables listed under Adventure Work Database 2019. Now let me select two tables from here. First, let me go with the employee table. So let me write a query to see the data in the employee table. Select star from human resource dot employees. And now if I execute this particular query, this is the employee table. Again, let me write another query. Select star from. Let me take another table over here as the table which I am searching for over here can be Okay, let's not work on this particular adventure work database. Let me work on the human resource database. So I'll select the human resource database from here, HR database. So let me remove these queries from here and let me use the human resource database. And if I execute this query, and now in the human resource database, if I expand this particular database and go to the table folder, I have this employee table and the gender table. Now let's understand, let's see what data we have in the employee table. So select star from table name, that is employee. Now if I execute this, I'll get the employee data. Let me select another table, that is gender table. So in this table, you can see in the employee table, we have the SID employees, employee number, birth date, first name, last name, gender, SID date, and the hire date. Now if I go to this gender table, select star from gender, and I execute this particular query, I can see that in the employee table and in the gender table, we have one column of similar type, that is the gender column. Now on the basis of this column, if I execute both the query over here, you can see the query is getting executed over here. If you can follow my cursor, you can see in the gender table we have the gender column, and in the employee table we have the gender column, which are of similar data type. Now we can establish a connection between these two tables. Now what I want to select the employee number, the birth date, the first name, the last name, and the gender on the basis of these two columns by implementing a inner join. So let me write a query. I'll write select from, first let me perform the join from. Now what I will do, I'll mention the table over here. So I'll write the employee table and I'll create an alias of the table as EMP. I'll perform an inner join by writing the inner join expression over here. And I'll mention the gender table over here, and I'll take a alias for that particular table. And now on the basis of this alias, I'll be performing the inner join by referring the gender column. So I'll write gen or EMP, or you can write gen dot gender equals to EMP dot gender. And what I can do, I can write over here on. Now this on keyword allows initialize the joining operation. So what I have done, I have taken alias as EMP for employees, gen as for gender, and on the basis of the gender column, I have performed an inner join. And now let me select the columns from the respective table. So I'll take employee number, I'll take the first name, I'll take the gender name from the gender table and the gender. Now you can see there is an error over here. What error? This is an ambiguous column name error. The SQL Server Management Studio is unable to identify from which table this gender column has been extracted or mentioned, because gender is available in both the table, right? So what I can do, I can write emp dot gender, and now you can see the error has been removed. So what I have done, I performed the inner join on the basis of the gender column, and now if I execute this particular statement, I'll able to see the employee number, first name, gender name along with the gender column from both the tables. So gender name has been extracted from the gender table and the gender column has been extracted from the employee table along with the first name and the employee number. So this inner join I have just executed with the help of a query where I have taken the gender column as a base. Now let's understand the concept of left join. Now for that, again, I'll go back to the Paint application. I'll just click on it and I'll just take this particular table data which I'm working on. So earlier we have seen that we have taken two tables and we have performed an inner join. Now for inner join, the matching data will only be published in terms of the matching criteria. But for left join, all the data from the left table along with the data which matches in terms of the matching criteria will be extracted. Now if you visualize the left join, it will look somehow like this, where all the data from the left table along with the data that matches with the right table on the basis of the matching criteria will be extracted. Now the question is how we can perform this in SQL with the help of queries. I'll go back over here in my SQL Server Management Studio. I'll take a new query for this left join, and the tables that I'm going to use for this particular example is an employee table and the managers table. Now if I select the data from the manager table and if I execute it, I can see in the manager table we have informations like position, from date, to date, SID employees, etc. And what I want to perform a left join on the employee table and the manager table. So what I can do, I can remove this star over here and I can select the table from here. So I can write the table name from employee table as EMP, performing the left join on the managers table as MGR on. Now the question is, what will be the matching criteria of the employee table and the manager table? Now in the manager table we have a SID employee column. Now if I right click on the employee table over here and I click on design, I can see in the employee table there will be one more column called SID employee. So on the basis of this particular column I can perform the join. So what I can do, I can write emp dot SID employee equals to mgr dot SID employee. And now the column that I want to select from the employee table will be, let me select the columns like first name, last name. So you can select employee number, first name, last name from the employee table, and from the manager table I can select position, and let's select the from date option, or so let's select the from date option. Now if I execute this particular query, I can see that from the employee table all the data has been selected on the basis of the matching criteria, that is SID employee, and where the data is not available you can see there is a null value over here. Now what I can do, I can sort this particular query, or I can sort this particular column so that I can check whether is there any values in these two columns or not. So how can I do that? By using the order by clause. Now what I can do, I can perform a sorting operation on the position column. Now we can sort this particular column by also specifying the column position. Now over here the position column is located at the fourth from the left. So position column is the fourth column starting from the left, that is employee number column. So what I can do, I can specify the column position number and I can just sort it in descending order. And now if I execute this query, on the basis of this particular position column, the data will be sorted in descending order. And now we can see that after applying the left join, all the data from the left table and the data from the right table on the basis of the matching criteria has been populated and sorted in descending order. Now the key takeaways from this example is that we can sort a column by defining the position of the column, and over here this particular column position is located at the fourth position from the left. So this is how we can perform the inner and the left join. In my next video I'll be discussing the join in depths, where the other categories like right join and left join, right join and outer join will be discussed. Apart from this, I will also discuss about the advanced operations that we can perform by using join. I hope you have enjoyed this particular video. Thank you for watching, guys.